Good morning, everyone. Hello, world. This is Tim Bagwell with Two Grumpy Old Men. My partner in our podcast is
Rich Garling. Hi.
there. Pause. Yes, I'm in St. Louis.
Oh,
Rich
that's
is in
right. We're
Chicago.
on the air, aren't we?
I'm in St. Louis. Rich is in Chicago. It's not like we're in the same room, so our cues aren't exactly always perfect. Today is the Wednesday following the special election in Tennessee. Apparently, there was one in California too, which was a Democratic walk, and in Tennessee, which should have been a Republican walk. In a district that was 22% for Trump in 2024, it was only 9% against won by Matthew Van Epps against Afton Bain. Uh, um, with a total vote so far of 180,000, to combined vote of 188,000, indicative of a special election in an off year when no big ticket votes up the ballot. So it's not an unusual turnout in that regard. But in terms of the importance of it, you would think that there would be more, because it has to do with the control of Congress to a bit, and but that did not happen. We didn't switch that. But it looks like she will be running. Afton Bain will be running again in 2026, since this was a special election. Van Epps left his state job to take up the congressional seat, and so he'll be going to D.C. With this under his belt. He
Isn't it kind of
Both
interesting?
candidates.
It's kind of interesting to note that Van Epps' experience was that he was a public administrator in the Tennessee government. He ran the Tennessee Department of General Services. Okay, so he was a supply officer basically. Now, when you get down
Oh,
to
he's
it,
probably replaced in his military career, a lieutenant colonel, and you said the army when we talked earlier. Was
yeah,
it
he
the
was
army
he
or?
was he was he was in the army. He graduated from West Point. Apparently, I mean, the guy's got a pretty good resume here. Really, he graduated from West Point in 2005, and he was commissioned in the army as an aviation officer. And that he apparently was awarded the Air Medal with a V device. I'm not quite sure what that means. He got a Bronze Star and a Meritorious Service Medal. And then after leaving the Army, he went for a master's degree in public administration from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And that so and that
So not
so
unimpressive. Might have taken him in the Democratic Party if we.
yeah, and that but
We
Bain,
asked.
in the meantime, has served on as a state representative in the state legislature. So she certainly, I think she has more legislative experience, than Van Epps has. Now,
And
but I
campaign
think overall,
experience.
yeah, but overall, the point, as you said, was he only won by 9 points. Where before that, just the year before that, okay, Green had won by 21 points, and Trump had won the district by 22 points. And
Green
this
being the
also,
Green being the retiring congressman or the exiting congressman who
yeah, the
opened up
exiting
his.
congressman, yeah, okay, he resigned. I believe what I heard was for political, not political, personal reasons. The other P word. Okay.
They're all political reasons. They're all
Yeah,
political reasons.
yeah. That. So,
But
so yeah, and so
she came
basically,
out.
yeah, the other thing you have to look at here too is that there was a lot of redistricting that happened with this particular district because what the Republicans tried to do was to split up the Democratic vote in the city of Nashville and also in Clarksville, and at two blue cities in a red state, and it appears that all they really succeeded in doing is A, diluting it, and B, the message is that people are not happy with the Trump
Right.
administration and what they're
We go
doing.
back to Afton for a second here, because you covered his resume pretty well, but we only talked about her legislative experience. She was elected to the Tennessee House, and she comes from a social service background. She got an MSW out of her BA and MSW were out of University of Texas Austin. Also impressive credentials on the Democratic side, I think. And she worked for the Tennessee Justice Center, doing healthcare organizing. which I'd like to talk to her, get her into one of my classes to give a lecture. But
Yeah, really, really. Well, she certainly was
I,
an unabashed progressive. That's for sure. She was not. She
unabashed,
was not
and,
apologetic about it at all.
I saw one of the shift maps, the arrow shift maps for showing the shift for the parties. Left arrow being Democrat, right arrow being Republican, and
Uh huh.
all the counties, all the districts had a shift towards Democrat from
Yeah.
before. Had a
Yeah.
shift from before. That doesn't mean they overtook them. She would have been elected, but the movement, the trend, looks Democratic now, and
Hmm.
I think given Trump has time left yet, he will piss off more people in Tennessee
Hmm.
seventh.
Hmm. That he will. That he will.
And Van Epps actually almost seems like, even though he, what's the word I'm looking for, spoke for Trump in his campaign, did the MAGA thing, you look at his background and you wonder if he isn't going to get to DC and go WTF, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing
Yeah.
is
He
the
might,
funny thing is that it seems the message that Trump and company are not getting was that when people voted for him by a very, very, very slim margin. And there was no mandate there whatsoever. If he had had a mandate, heck, if we had fixed the election back in 2020 as he accuses, the Democrats of doing, quite honestly, if I'm fixing an election, I'm going to make sure that I have a non-veto, a veto-proof, House and Senate, and with the presidency, not one that has such close margins as we've had. Okay, I mean, come on. If you're going to fix an election, fix it, for crying out loud. Okay, and
yeah.
that and the
Well,
same thing happened in 2024. He doesn't have anywhere near what he thinks he has, but yet he's acting like he is, and people are sitting there rolling over. Evidence
yeah,
of
and
that's Northwestern University just recently. Good. Uh,
the the people always forget, and they're not educated. This is the reason why she lost. Is that the Tennessee voters, I don't think, got how important their vote was this time around to the control of the House. And the other thing is, in general, Americans do not understand. There's 30,000 counties plus, and each of them have many precincts.
hmm.
And you're talking hundreds of thousands of voting apparati that is impossible to rig.
Yeah, yeah. There's no way because each and every one of them none of them use a common software. It's all different software to count those votes. Okay, you have a mishmash of counties and out there who basically, like for instance, they want to have a paper ballot there to validate. Well, I live in Lake County, Illinois, and they not only let you do vote electronically, okay, but when I go in there and I fill out my ballot, it's a paper ballot. And what they do is
Yep.
they run it through a machine, and the machine reads the count. Okay, so you have your validation there. I can't think of too many counties that don't do that. First off, and
Yeah.
as and that and I guess that leads to a marketing problem in that they're screaming, that they need paper validation, and in the meantime, that's already happening. But yet, those that are already doing it and have been doing it for decades, okay, aren't saying a lot about it. And they really should be speaking up and going, wait a minute, we're doing this. Or it's a case of the mass media, the main media. I'll call them the main media versus the independent media. The main media is not, putting that story out there and saying, hey guys, this already exists. What are you talking about? And that because they don't seem to have the kahunas to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. Back to what you're saying, and back to Van Epps for a moment. It'll be interesting to see him when he gets there, because okay, here's I think the conflict we're dealing with is that you get your MAGA. Is he a true MAGA? Right? Is he a true MAGA? I have some doubts here. You know.
Do you think he's a suck up?
So well, first of all, who's going to run for these offices? Who's going to run for these offices? What one classification is that opportunist? Is he an opportunist? Okay, and he saw this opportunity to support the MAGA movement and President Trump, or is he answered the call of his party and opted, because he had all these credentials that look good on paper for a candidate. Like I said, Democrats would accept that his paperwork. Because there are a lot of Democrats with that same paperwork.
Mm.
you know,
Yeah,
uh,
exactly,
so
exactly.
so the question is how West Point is he? Is he West Point? I will not. I will look into anything that looks like a crime against a commission of a crime. But here's the other thing: he's got an election to win in 2026.
Yes, he does.
So
Yes, he does.
and his district is trending blue now. What is he going to do when he gets to DC? That'll be
Yeah.
interesting to watch. Just as a not that he's the center of the world right now, but it'll be interesting to watch. With so many, because there will be Republicans. They were talking about Republicans. The media was talking about Republicans leaving if this, if this went Democratic. Well, it almost went Democratic, which is also enough to make some people leave. So it'll
Oh,
be
God, yeah.
interesting to see if
Yeah.
there's any
They're
fallout.
and the numbers are interesting in that the Republicans are retiring or resigning in droves, practically.
Well,
Here,
it's
here's
not,
some.
I know.
Here's Well, now here's some numbers for you. Here's some numbers for you. That I just read
I
these the
wonder
other
what these
day.
numbers look like.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. One of the questions that I asked out there was, okay, just how big of a coattail does Donald Trump really have? And the interesting thing was is that up to 2024, he had somewhere around an 80% rating of where he had a 100% rating in the primaries when he endorsed a candidate. Okay, every one of the candidates he endorsed won their primaries. But that number drops down to like 75 to 80% in the general election. Then in 2025, so far this year, this is the only election he's won. He's lost all the rest. Every one of them that he endorsed on, he lost except for this one. And then he only wins this one by 9 points versus
Right.
the 20 to
With,
22 that he won
with,
before.
with, I would say, a stellar candidate, a stellar Republican candidate on the ballot, yet still 9 points, right?
Yeah, but
And
something he has a good resume, okay, and everything. You look at Senator Kelly,
oh yeah,
okay, from Arizona. Yeah,
yeah.
and
Well,
I don't think this guy compares, to
well,
him.
no,
But yet,
no, he's not
Senator,
that.
yeah,
Well, I'm
but
saying,
yes,
he would be a great Democratic candidate for a congressional seat in many places
yes.
if he had any inclination. And yes, and he may be trying to figure out how to look like a Democrat.
Good possibility. Good
Yeah,
possibility
'cause
there. And, you know,
he's running basically. He's been saddled with Trump.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Right in
And
the
that, and
Congress. By the way, there's a fat old man who wants to be on your back.
exactly,
Apologies to
exactly.
all people with who struggle with obesity.
Yep. And,
Yeah,
so,
uh,
and here's the other thing too. The message that Donald Trump and his minions don't seem to have gotten is that many people were upset about the economy, the price of eggs thing, and
right,
all this, and yeah, they probably many of those people were blaming immigrants, for their lot in life. Okay, and
yeah,
the fact that prices were higher and their wages didn't seem to reflect all of that, even though the
right,
facts, said differently, the feeling was, hey, things aren't right. And I can
right,
understand that because I go to the grocery store and I see prices are higher and everything, but my wages certainly didn't go up any.
right,
Or
right,
it's that old story of where you get that 3% pay increase, and then they raise your insurance rates by 3 or 4%. So like it was, what's the point? Giving me the pay
right,
raise.
right,
You're just going to take it away from
right,
me anyway. All right. But here was the thing. What I don't think people wanted was they wanted the prices to go down. They wanted to make sure that their jobs were secure and their jobs were safe and all this. But that didn't mean that you had to sit there and ship out all the immigrants, all the illegal immigrants that came in, and that because you get down to it, The illegal immigrant was not the reason for prices going up. Was not the reason for your job being your job situation being what it is. It had absolutely nothing to do with it. But yet it was a convenient excuse. Where their problem with their jobs and things was the fact that automation, look at the coal miners. Remember how he was sitting there talking about, he's going to bring back the coal miners' jobs? Well, that wasn't going to happen because all their jobs have been automated and everything. Do you think those companies are going to turn around and go, "Oh yeah, we'll hire them back"? I don't see that happening whatsoever. And unfortunately, these people got led down the primrose path, and not realizing that no, that's not what was going on, and so it's just the reality is that automation, outsourcing, corporate
AI.
wage suppression. Yeah, AI. Well, AI's been taking away a lot of jobs. I mean, if you can program someone's job, then yeah, AI will take it away from you. Okay, but there's still a lot of opportunity out there. I liken AI to when the factories started making shoes. Okay, and the poor cobbler out there who had been doing it for centuries, okay, suddenly found themselves without work. Okay, it's going to happen. That's just the nature of human evolution. Okay, AI is going to take jobs away, but AI is also going to provide opportunities. When they started automating shoes and making them in factories, there were jobs that opened up like crazy in the factories. It actually gave jobs to a lot of people who before that had just menial work, and that, cleaning out horse stalls or stuff like that. Now they could work in a factory and make shoes and make some real money. Okay, the poor cobbler had a choice. They could continue to try to make shoes, or they could go and work in the factory.
I don't know if this is shareable. This is a TikTok. It has to do, okay, it wants me to log in. I'm not a TikTok member. But the other day we drive into Panda Express.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all right. We're at the drive-through. And, hi, how may I help you? And it's an AI voice taking our order.
Yes.
All right. Yes. Very clear, very concise. You see everything come up and you're going, well, this is different. And then I look ahead of me and the person at the window, her hand is out talking to the people, she's being expressive to the people who are ordering in front of me. All right. And then we pull up and they're not satisfied with it either.
But how many people do you see out in the street protesting that?
Well, I don't know how long it's been, at least in our local Panda Express, I don't know how it has not been active long. I just did on that TikTok I found, I found it on, the search took me to Reddit and then took me to TikTok. So I do not know how long they've been or what the rollout of that was like. But one of the problems they were, that the person taking our money and giving us our food said that I had to, when you got here, I had to ask you if we could substitute white for fried rice.
Right.
The system did not know it. The system did not know that. And I saw this a long time ago when Panda Express tried to put kiosk in their restaurants. And basically, the way they designed it, you had to back off a standard order. You had to take stuff off of a standard order. So you're going, no. And what you're asking the customer to do is to respond negatively in the process of taking an order, which that's not a good.
No,
Let's build
a
sandwich together. Let's take this kind of bread, this, and this on it, and we've done this together.
Well, they've taken away the experience of going out to eat. Even if it's a fast food place like Panda, and that they've taken that experience away. And that, the one thing I've noticed though, again, is like, for instance, I'm really upset at the mere fact that the umpires in baseball games is being taken away by some robot that's going to sit there and call balls and strikes. Yeah, right now they still got the ump there, but that's going to be short-lived because once that machine learns, what it's supposed to do, That's what's going to happen. It's going to be the rule, Nat. And
Yeah,
nobody's out
not
there
before,
protesting that.
not before when they first started. A few players taking a ball bat to them.
Yeah, they'll destroy that
I
machine
would
and they'll have another one roll right in. You know.
Yeah.
And, but
Well,
nobody. But
then all the
yeah,
players may go into the field and trash all the
yeah,
RoboCop.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, now
nobody's.
back to the
Yeah,
yeah.
but nobody's
Go ahead.
protesting that. Nobody's protesting that.
No,
All
no,
right.
no. Yeah. So we have a country that hopefully this is the if you uh, this was a very very red district, and she got it to trend Democrat,
Uh
and
huh.
it's she'll be running again. Um, Here's what I saw in Illinois, and it won't happen in Tennessee because Tennessee has no real Democratic Party structure. I don't think. I don't think they have no statewide offices. They have that I know of. I don't think there's a statewide anything, Democrat anything, and what they have. I don't even know how many congressmen they might have. Is there any? If Nashville and Knoxville are Republican, and Memphis, maybe
Yeah, I
Memphis
don't think they
probably has
have.
a. They were
Yeah,
trying to take Memphis out of. Yeah.
yeah. Um, let's
Let's
see.
see.
How many?
I bet you Memphis. I type faster than you. I think maybe.
They have two. So, let's see. Is overweight out of 11 members, only one is Democrat. Representative Stephen Cohn of Memphis, Tennessee, the Tennessee
Yeah.
ninth.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So you got the one guy over there, and they were trying to they want to take him out with redistricting.
Exactly.
So
Well, that was part of the idea of what they did with Nashville, for instance. So this guy's from Memphis. They apparently didn't do that with Memphis for some strange reason.
yeah, that's your only federal level, and we know that the governor and the Senate, none of that is Democratic. So you didn't have a Democratic machine that would say, "Oh, Afton, thank you very much for increasing the base. We're going to put somebody in now who we like
Yeah.
better." Yeah, which
Yeah.
happens in Illinois,
Yep.
which can happen in Illinois. You can build up a district, and then they will take it from you before you do
Yes.
the next cycle.
It
Yeah,
gets down to
yeah.
it's the message. Folks, you can sit there and draw the lines you want, but if your message sucks, guess what?
Well, well, I mean, no, what I'm getting at is that I go back to 2000, I think it's 2010 on this one, but you had a candidate build up was it the fifth, whatever DuPage County was back in the early 2000s, whatever
Uh-huh.
their number. She built up. She ran twice. She ran the Hyde out of office, caused him to retire because she ran a good campaign. Had was able to exploit the changes in DuPage County because it was going more Democratic, and then when after she did all that, they said thank you. They didn't say thank you very much. They decided, and I love Dick Durbin, but the Dick Durbin organization decided that they wanted somebody else,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, 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 yeah. No, that's
that
how we
worked
got
out
Tammy.
fine.
No, that's how we got Tammy
That,
Duckworth. That's how we got
yes,
Tammy Duckworth. Yeah,
and that worked out
and
fine.
what's his name? The guy who used to be mayor of Chicago, and he was one time chief of staff under Obama. Who am I thinking
Rahm
of?
Emanuel. Rahm
Yeah,
Emanuel.
that was all Emmanuel's doing too. Yeah, that
Yeah.
had more to do with him than Durbin. Yeah, and
I don't know,
and
but the DCCC they were calling for her campaign within the confines of that office in D.C., which was not ethical or maybe not
right.
legal.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the Democrats are just as guilty of things as the Republicans are at times. Of course, the problem today is that well, yeah, yeah, and of course the problem today is that the Republicans are certainly, I'm sorry, much more corrupt, and they're being very open about it. They don't
Yeah.
care if anybody sees them as being corrupt because they think that that's
Yeah.
okay. Nobody's going to pay attention to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that,
Yeah.
and eventually it's going to come around to bite them in the ass.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
it's going to be interesting to see if there's anything, if anyone's out and out leaving, walking out of the office after January 5th because of their retirement thing.
Yes, yes,
If they're officially leaving and leaving an open seat, or I mean, or if they're staying until the election as a lame duck congressman until the next election. That'll be
yes.
interesting. I think the party likes to see them leave in order to get a candidate. Oh, just realized that the party whenever you resign, they want you out because they need to get a new guy in.
Yes.
So that'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see
Well,
what happens there.
that's kind of typical. I see both parties doing this where, because Chewy Garcia just did that recently with his congressional
Right.
district, you know,
Yes.
where he bowed out of the primary at the last moment, leaving enough room for his chief of staff to be able to slide in there, and nobody else could, would be up against her,
Right.
giving her the edge.
Right.
And the Republicans do that all the time. I've even seen that on the very local level, where all of a sudden they resign mid-term so that somebody can be appointed, so that when they run 2 years later in the November election, they can sit there and go, "Oh, reelect." It'll make it look like they're
Right.
the incumbent and everything, you know.
Right. Hey,
And it's like,
we're
God.
coming up on our time here. We've covered Tennessee fairly well today, more than we would have ever thought we would have been covering Tennessee.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
and then well, you see,
Good
we
work there.
see, folks, what we did, and I think Tim and I did here was that we not only covered Tennessee, but we brought in the national part of it, to this whole story,
Yeah.
and everything, because it's like Tennessee's not in a silo by itself. There are national implications going on here. There are national effects, that happen,
Yeah.
on that
Right.
congressional level,
Right.
and so, there's more to this story than what you see there, and there'll be more down the road, and we will certainly try to help cover that. And
So,
so, with that note,
so with that, you want to sign out?
yes, let us sign off.
This has been Two Grumpy Old Men. This has been Two Grumpy Old Men. I'm Tim Bagwell.
And I'm Rich Garling. Have yourself a
Thank you
wonderful
for being
day.
here. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.